This video is sponsored by True Gold Republic, the precious metals experts. Talk to one of their experts today about diversifying your portfolio to help assure your future financial security. Find their contact information in the description below and pinned in our first comment. James Kaufman, World News Report today, July 13th, 2024. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Candice Owens calls out Don Lemon for who and what he really is. It's a must-watch video, folks. Don Lemon has a huge double standard for almost everything, but especially reporting January 6 events versus BLM riots. In a recent heated interview, conservative commentator Candice Ownens called out former CNN anchor Don Lemon on his apparent hypocrisy over the double standards reporting the January 6 Capitol event and the Black Lives Matter or BLM riots. Throughout the interview, Owens made it clear that she believes there is a double standard in how the mainstream media reports on different events based on their political learnings and their talking points they're given. Her pointed questions and refusal to let Lemon control the narrative left a lasting impression, showcasing her commitment to challenging bias in the mainstream media and their reporting. Let's take a listen to what she has to say.
Ashley Babbitt broke into the Capitol. It's awful that anybody died. Police officers, you see the tape, on camera, telling her, everyone, to stand down as she tried to enter. She was not complying. As people say, when police officers or officials tell you to do something, one should comply. And when she tried to break into the Capitol and defy the officers' commands, they did what they had to do, and she ended up dying. It's awful that it happened, but to say that she died, and I assume insinuate that it was...
We all saw exactly what happened. The bozo took her out for no real apparent reason whatsoever. Crazy.
Because of some nefarious actions by the officers. I just think that that is, beyond the pale and does not actually fit a solid narrative of what actually happened.
Well, it's very dizzying. I'm actually dizzy right now because your entire perspective has been pro BLM, and your entire perspective on your network has been essentially that it was totally fine for the officers that were bludgeoned, the officers that were killed, the officers all throughout New York City in the BLM riots. You even had, Yale graduates.
Can we keep the focus?
Let me finish. I just allow me to finish. I just think it's nice to allow me to finish, because I'm a guest on your show.
But I want you to,
you had them throwing bombs,
focus on the insurrection and not
Molotov cocktails in the very same summer that you're talking about the insurrection. Molotov cocktails were thrown into police cruisers during the BLM riots. We didn't seem to have the same sensitivity toward police officers.
We're not talking about BLM.
But it's relevant because it was happening in the exact same city. Okay. And so suddenly, like I said, I'm just dizzy because I can't figure out whether or not you care about police officers or you don't care about them, because now you're sharing emotional stories and now you're cutting me off, and I want to share one about a Molotov cocktail that was thrown.
No wonder he's an ex-CNN anchor. This guy is washed up, period.
Into a police cruiser in New York by some college graduates, in the media platform that you were on cheered it on because this was about justice. But suddenly when it's patriots, you want to talk about the sad stories of the police officers. You're now saying that because you don't comply, you can get shot. That's fine if that's your perspective. And actually,
not part of his talking points that he was given.
It wasn't complying, but then we should probably revisit the George Floyd riots.
Americans can be deemed as patriots in this country.
Okay, well, I don't know why you're cutting me off. I haven't cut you off. I'm just trying to get out my point.
I'm trying to tell you because we have very limited time, and the reason I'm cutting you off is because I want you to stick to the subject, because you're deflecting and you're talking about BLM.
I'm not deflecting. I'm not deflecting.
Let me make a point across. And BLM has nothing to do with the insurrection. We're talking about the events that happened in Washington.
I just want to know what the definition of an insurrection is, because when I was living in D.C. and the BLM was pulling down statues, they were marching on Washington, the media was fine with it. So it's confusing because the Brett Kavanaugh hearings and the women were storming into the Capitol, they were lining in the hallways.
I'm dizzy now because you're
I'm really confused about when it's an insurrection and when it's not an insurrection, because the Brett Kavanaugh hearings definitely look.
It's when ex-washed up Lemon says it is. Only, or when the talking points he's handed say it is only.
Looks like the definition of an insurrection when they were chasing down senators in hallways trying to stop them from voting. But for some reason, the media supported that because, like, #MeToo. But again, I'm just trying to get a consistent definition of when it's okay to storm the Capitol building and when it's not okay to storm the Capitol building because it's an insurrection.
Candice, we're not talking about BLM. And we're
that's it, Paul. We're never talking about anything Democrats do.
I want to get back on the subject because this is not helping anyone.
Supporters.
This conversation is not helping anyone.
So she named several other incidents where the Capitol was, stormed, police officers were firebombed, etc. And he said it's all about the police officers' safety, but in those instances, it was all about BLM's safety. Again, that's why he's no longer working for any network.
Let's get back on the subject. BLM and what happened has nothing to do, and we can litigate that and we can talk about that. This is not a conversation about BLM. This is a conversation about what happened on January 26th, and this is it's not about Brett Kavanaugh, okay?
Well, they stopped to vote, so I just think that might be relevant.
They also entered the Capitol to stop the vote on Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation, but that was not an insurrection. They've also, entered the Capitol over the Palestine-Gaza situation. That, again, was not an insurrection. Only when the patriots enter and question something does anything happen. As far as all these people in prison, as far as all the deaths that happened that day, this was all a setup by the Democratic Party, and I think we saw that. Miss Pelosi had her daughter and her film crew ready and refused the National Guard, even after Trump offered it, and the Sergeant at Arms requested it. The National Guard was waiting and ready, but called off by the Democrats, hoping that the FBI, would pull the patriots into the Capitol or on the grounds. Now, there were people that didn't even go to D.C. that are doing 20 years. The whole thing is ridiculous. God bless you and yours. Let's say a prayer for everyone being held as a political prisoner by this administration. Please share, subscribe, and always remember that anything's possible in Bizarro World.